Yes, we are live to talk about magic. Yeah,
Yeah.
talk about
Abracadabra.
magic. Hmm?
Abracadabra.
Yes, Simsalabim.
I'm being notified that Heather Nichols is live. I'm like, oh wait, that's us.
Yeah, and then it says what Eva said, Abacadabraaa. That's so cool. Yay. Yeah, magic. I loved actually, Melissa. I watched your live that you did the other day, and you shared such a beautiful story about like an example of how magic showed up for you.
Yeah.
Because I've been asking some questions around this topic of magic, and it was quite a bit of a like an energy, but really like yeah, and then what? And it really helped me that you shared an example of how it showed up, because then it got me to all these universes and places where I could acknowledge that as magic as well.
Yeah, cool. I'm like, what did I talk about? I think I was mostly talking about like how like this space,
I can't remember.
right? So I mean, I looked a lot at that as like acknowledging like where we be magic, where like we don't necessarily realize that that like we've created that. Like, like you asked for something, but it's like, before I was in Access, there was this whole thing around like manifestation and like making things super significant and being like, I must ask, like say something 100 times a day, and you had to like be really like intentional, where like we forget all the ways that like we just ask for things like, gosh, what would it take for this to show up? Cool. And you'd like go on with your day and you don't even realize that like, oh, like I did ask for that like 3 months ago and here it is, but like we don't even acknowledge that. So like I think the thing I was talking about, although I can't guarantee this, the space I functioned from like as a therapist, but at the time I was just doing life coaching, like, and I was looking for just a place. And I was kind of like just saying to my friend, like, gosh, what would it take to like have a place that I could rent by the hour and not like have to pay a month's rent while I was like starting out? And, what would it take if it was like this cool house, like somewhere like in a night, like little, like cool downtown area and yada, yada. And like, I'm doing this live from that space right now, but like, I went to like some like meeting thing, and this guy was like, hey, I have this space if you ever like need to just like rent a space by the hour. It's like right downtown and it's really cute. It's like this old Victorian house. And I was like, no way. But it took me a while to like realize like, oh, like I did ask for that, but we just don't even notice it. It's like we go through life and like, kind of like have a thought, even it's not even out loud sometimes, of like, oh, that would be cool. And then like don't realize that like as a magician, like we actually create that. Mm-hmm. I wonder like what other people have experienced, like where you kind of asked for something and didn't realize it.
I had
you ask it in your mind as in a fling, and then a couple of hours later it is there.
Yeah.
And not I ask it, but with no expectation, just in wondering, and then it's there. Yeah. And when I ask, oh, I want to have this and this and this, then it doesn't show up in that magical way.
Yeah.
And it's going to.
What did you say, Melissa?
Oh, I said it never shows up the way you think it's going to.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're like, oh, it has to look like this, or it has to be like this, or in this line, then you kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said also, Edith, about the significance, I can't recall what it was, but like you said, you just ask for something and then whoop, there it is. And I also started to look at, okay, what areas of my life can I infuse that energy to? Like, what are things that I have been making so significant that they're not showing up? And then playing with that and having a look at that, like so many elements. Do I really want it actually? And have I been choosing it, etc.? and also the adding the non-significance to it. It's not even that, but it's just like, oh, I'd like to have that, cool, and then there it is. But sometimes I've been making other stuff so relevant, so important, like, oh,
Or you put
and
a
then
time
there's all this
on it.
charge on it.
Yeah, or you put a time on it. I have to. I want to have it. I ask for it for today or tomorrow or this week.
Mm.
And then, but also be willing to receive it, and not ruin it because it cannot come this way, or it cannot be that easy. To not then go and just ruin it, and just, oh wow, I created that, and then just totally be willing to receive it. That it's just showing up like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
are you
and I,
acknowledging it as you created, but as if by magic?
yeah.
Because I had this so many times that I've been probably advertising was on in the television, and they showed a beautiful 5-star wellness hotel. And I said to my man, oh, wow, it would be so fun to go there sometime for a few days. And I think 3 weeks later, we got gifted a voucher to go exactly to that place for 5 days.
Wow, so cool.
And
That's so yummy.
also, like, his friends, they have a really beautiful house in Mallorca. And I said to him, wow, it would be so much fun to go there one day and stay in their house for, a week, have a holiday there and just enjoy the house.
Yeah.
I think also a week or 2 weeks later, he's coming back saying, hey, they just been talking to me and asking if we would like to go there. And they're even buying us the plane tickets. And, it was just like exactly what I've been asking for. But as you said before, I not at all had any significance to it. It's been just, oh, wow, that would be fun sometime, But
Yeah.
exactly what I've been asking for showed up. And that happens so many times.
Yeah.
And it's going faster and faster now.
Yeah, exactly. If we don't get in the way, it's just there because it's there already in one way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more like that's how I perceive it. Like every time putting the barrier down to actually be in the reality where I have it. It's not becoming it. It's not doing something to get there, but it's more a matter of like, am I allowing myself to experience that I be it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. No, that's-
Taking out our head of the equation. And just let the ask be there. And not trying to figure it out with our minds.
Yeah.
Well, anywhere we like go into the how, it's where we start like doing this like computation thing, and it's like, oh, well, I have to do this, or I have to work this many hours to make this much money to make this thing show up, or I have to, call 30 people to try to get this thing to show. Anytime you like have this idea of like how it's going to show up, it's like it doesn't work. But I love that, Eva, that you were just like, yeah, I'm gonna, that looks like fun, because there was no computation of how it's going to show up. It just did.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. And I also get how much it creates when we like choose to follow the energy there. Because like when I started living in this house, I actually lived in another house and I had to get out of that house. So I had to get to a new place, and I knew the energy that I was asking for as my life, as my living, etc. And a few things showed up, but it wasn't congruent with the energy that I was asking for. And I can remember that I had one day left actually, and I had to get out of my house. And I magically got to how do you call it? A renting place. Let's call it that. And I got to see that house, and that by itself was magical because like you couldn't get in, but I was there, and I got to have first place where there was a waiting list, etc. And I had 1 day left, or no, 2 days at that time. And I went to see that house, like knowing that, oh my God, and I was there and I immediately knew this isn't it. This isn't it. And I can recall that my parents, for example, were like, yeah, but this isn't it. Who cares? You have to get a house. I mean, hello. This is like you have the chance now to have a house. But I just knew this isn't it. So I asked some questions and I said, yeah, this isn't it. What else is possible? And then the next day I got to see 3 other houses and I was standing outside and I knew this is it. This is it. I didn't really have to get in, but of course I got in, and it was exactly the energy that I was asking for, but in a village that I would never have even considered living in. Never. Wouldn't have matched any of my images or like things that I could maybe label like, oh, this energy, well, that would not match with that village, and it does match with that village. Staying out of that brought me to this village, which is so weird, and I love it living here. Yeah.
Wow, it's so trusting on your knowing and on your trusting on your trust that there is something more available for you.
And really following the energy.
Yeah.
I've got also like a magical story, but it's just kind of like opposite. So when we moved back from Botswana to South Africa, we had to change our number plates on our cars because we're importing the cars from Botswana back to South Africa. So it's a whole importation of vehicles and taxes that has to be paid, and it's a lengthy process. But because you do all the paperwork, it's supposed to go with ease. So we were struggling really badly, up and down, being sent up and down by government offices and whatever for around 8 months. And I was really getting so frustrated with it. And I'm like, until here, no further. So I started using the tools by pulling the energy. So I just sat my foot down and I'm like, no ways. Every morning for 2 weeks, I would go and I would sit on my bed. When I wake up, had my coffee, I would like, I'm pulling the energy from the traffic department and everybody that's working there, that this will all be sorted within 2 weeks. I'm pulling the energy and I, say it about 3-4 times and then I would go about my day. So the day before 2 weeks was over, I'm like, universe, I know you're going to help me. I know seriously you're going to help us out here. 2 weeks is not over yet, so I'm not giving up. That following morning, when it was 2 weeks, 7 o'clock that morning, they phoned me. They're like, your papers are ready. You can come to the office. I'm like, no ways. Oh. So we stamped the papers, and then I'm like, okay, so it's just one final step for the head office, the main office that needs to do it. So I'm like, okay, universe, so you worked out on this one. So I'm giving it another 3 days. I'm pulling energy. We will be sorted within 3 days because they said 7 to 10 days. I'm like, no, I'm having 3 days on this and then it's done. That Wednesday morning, they phoned me again. We are all sorted, ma'am. You can come and fetch your papers. I'm like, that's magic for you. So we be magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's
and the demand that you have been there, Leilani, as well.
Reality.
Oh, we were talking at the same time. You go, Eva.
I just wanted to say that it just so shows that our points of views create our reality.
Definitely.
Yeah. And the demand, because like you were a tenacious little bitch there, Leilani. You were like, I'm not having that. I'm having this. No matter what, I'm having this.
8 months has been way too long, It could have been sorted so long ago. So I'm like, I'm not doing this for another 8 months. So I mean, if you just be the pool that you can be, all of us can be it. It's just magic. And then yes, acknowledge it and have greater. Mm-hmm. And then have the holidays in Mallorca and wherever.
Yeah.
Wow. And I wonder, like, too, like anybody listening to this, like now or in the future, like, have you acknowledged like what magic you have already created in your life?
Yeah.
And I wonder, when we acknowledge the magic that we be, that invites even more of that energy, that magic into our world and our universe, or like we can create so much more than like we've even acknowledged. You know, we can look at like all the spaces that like we've, you know, created the space to live, or the office space, or the, you know, paperwork with ease, and like, gosh, if we can create that, like what else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I also get with this whole topic of magic that I became aware of the same thing in a way that we can do with the X-Men conversation, how we try to put that in a box to see if we be it. Like an X-Men, what is that? Oh, well, no, that's not me. And that's the same with the magic. Like I had to also take a look at like undefining it, because it is not defined, undefining it, and then started asking for examples. Like, universe, literally, can you show me an example of where I have been and beyond this reality acknowledgement of magic? Because I sometimes we can start to look for like, yeah, but magic, yeah, but what is that? That's not me. We try to put it in another box to see if we fit in there, and if it doesn't match the box, then well, of course, it's not us. It's everybody but us.
Right.
And what if it's just us having our reality, however that looks like, with so much ease? And how much more ease can we receive and be?
Yeah.
So a small thing I also play with is whenever I'm not sure, you know, like locally, which shop to go to or what to, you know, if I'm looking for something specific. So I'll go, okay, universe, so show me in my Facebook feed who is matching the energy that I'm looking for. And I promise you, advertisements then come up in the local community, or if I'm pondering about something, like going somewhere or looking for something new, then I'll ask, please show me, you know, who I services I must make use of or whatever. And the answers will be there within 2 or 3 hours. And then I'm like, wow, cool, we magic. So, you know, it's like playing with small stuff like that, acknowledging the magic, and then it becomes bigger and greater.
Wow.
Yeah, and again, I see also here the X-Men conversation again. Like, where is the magic that we are being so normal to us that we don't see it as magic?
Yes, it's just part of your reality, part of who you be. So you think everybody else is creating like that.
Yeah.
In the meantime, not everybody is willing to acknowledge it.
Yeah. And that is why it also helped me, Melissa, to see your Facebook Live, because when you mentioned those examples, I was like, oh, that's actually something I also be, you know? But seeing it through you made me see it of me.
That's amazing. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I wonder what else, like, I don't know, just like all the places, you know, and I can sometimes see the really big ones, but I know there's like little day-to-day stuff that like I miss or I don't acknowledge, or, you know, so like, I wonder what else like we can acknowledge in our like day-to-day lives where like we've, you know, created something, actualized something without even like realizing that like, oh, I did that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been my ass like for an hour ago or 2 hours ago, you know, and it just showed up like this. And then you never acknowledge it because it's just so part of your day.
Yeah.
And truly, I can just say it again, letting the universe and other people contribute to us.
Yeah.
Because so many times we think we have to do it all by ourselves. But if we just relax and request, so many people and so many energies are willing to contribute to us.
Yeah,
wow, yeah.
that's
I just
also where the
got
out
it,
of control comes in, right? Like the willingness to be out of control there, instead of, like Melissa said, figuring it out, how you have to show up and what you have to do for it. Like being out of control, show me.
Wow. I just got this image of, I mean, if we ask the magic trick to just appear in our lives, we don't have to be the magician that's making it happen. The universe is doing that for us. So we want to be the magic trick as well as being the David Copperfield. Which means you control your whole magic trick, And it's like, no, it doesn't work like that.
Wow.
We can't be the magic trick and be David Copperfield. The universe
Well, or
is
can you? What if we can be it all?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you ask for the magic to show up, all the elementals work on your behalf. You don't have to make the magic work. It just happens for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
You only have to be.
Mm. And Simsalabim.
Abracadabraaa.
So
Awesome.
Heather has got a class coming up this weekend. Being
Yes.
Magic, the adventure of being you. And for everybody that is watching it or later, it is a Being You class. It's actually based on or got inspired by the Being You book that Dane here wrote, Being You, Changing the World. And it will be my first Being You class. How about you ladies? Have you done Being You classes yet?
I've done a few. I love them. But I've never done this one. I'm really excited for it. They're always amazing.
Yeah. Nice.
Wow. What will this class create for us?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What else is there to acknowledge about this whole magic? And what else is there to explore about it? What else can we be with it? Wow.
The energy
Being the
of wonder.
magicians we truly be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder, yeah.
Yay! So you're invited if you would like to come. It's this Saturday and this Sunday. We can put a link because I don't have all the land time zones in my awareness. I know the CET, but all the others I'm like,
All right. It's in the afternoon in the US. I think in Europe it must be the evening for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
12 to 3.
4, I want to say, or something, Central Standard Time. So in Houston time if we're using that. And then, I don't know.
I think it starts at 9 p.m. Central European time.
Yes. Yeah. Yay!
Like that. Cool.
Awesome.
Yay.
Thank you, ladies,
Thank you
again
so much,
for another
ladies.
magical coffee talk.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.